see in this country anti-Semitism and anti-Semitic incidents rising at the most extraordinary level. So how greatly do the police confirm that anti-Semitic incidents in this country have increased?
Well, according to the Metropolitan Police Service, this time last year versus this time currently, we've got a 1,350% increase in anti-Semitic crime. So in the last year, anti-Semitic crime has skyrocketed by 1,350%. Let that sink in for a second. And whilst you think about that, think about the fact that the Jewish population of this country is only about 0.5% of the total population. So this tiny population of Jews in Britain are currently experiencing this enormous surge in hatred and crime against them.
And in what sort of ways are they experiencing that?
So some of it is really, really deeply disturbing. We're seeing a lot of reports from schools of young children who've been bullied in the most terrible ways, through to people who in their workplaces are finding colleagues discriminating against them. And some of these colleagues, by the way, are doctors and nurses and people who are charged with looking after not just Jews, but looking after this country, looking after the people of this country. And we are seeing anti-Semitism from them too, all of the way through to some of the expressions of anti-Semitism that we've seen on these marches, where people are quite literally dressing up like Hamas terrorists and glorifying their terrorism, where we've got people who are chanting sort of genocidal, blood-curdling chants against Jews. And we've also got people who are inciting hatred against Jews. I mean, we've literally seen people marching down the road with placards that say things like please keep the world clean, alongside a Star of David in a bin. Now, that's the kind of thing we're seeing in Britain, and that's without going into some of the violent cases that have taken place, and without going into the fact that what's going on online is an absolute torrent of anti-Semitism.
And what, if anything, can be done about this river of hatred? Because that's what it feels like, doesn't it? And a river actually sounds rather innocuous. It's more than a river of hatred, isn't it? It's really a hostile volley of cascades of hatred. What can be done to stem that flow?
In a way, actually, the river is not such a bad analogy. I think what we had on October 7th was this wave, this tsunami of anti-Semitic barbarity that was unleashed upon Jews and Israelis, by Hamas. And that wave, that tsunami of anti-Semitic barbarity has then spread across the world in torrents. And of course, what we've been seeing in Britain is we have been seeing people coursing through cities in the UK, many of them either expressing hatred of Jews or glorification of terrorism, or being quite happy just marching alongside it and saying nothing, being completely silent in the face of all of this. So it does feel like there's this sort of river of hatred. And what can be done about it is, I think, twofold. One, we really need the police and law enforcement in this country to step up and enforce the law. The vast majority of expressions of hatred, of racism in this country are criminalized by various different laws that we have, but we just haven't seen that being enforced. And we've even seen incidents where these people go all of the way through to attacking people and even firing fireworks into the police. And so little is being done about it. And that really is a frightening prospect for a lot of British Jews. But there's also something else that we can do, which is that we can stand up as a country and say, this is not how we do things in this country. Britain is a country which is world famous for its values of tolerance and decency. And this Sunday, there's going to be a national march against anti-Semitism, starting outside the Royal Courts of Justice on the Strand in London, which is going to be an answer, a very British answer, to what we've been seeing over the last few weeks. We will be saying that we are a united kingdom, united against anti-Semitism, people who are not Jewish, who are just decent British people, standing shoulder to shoulder with the Jewish community in this country and saying enough. And this is actually looking set to be the biggest gathering in opposition to anti-Semitism in this country in a lifetime since the Battle of Cable Street in 1936, when British people stood alongside the Jewish community shoulder to shoulder to break the back of Sir Oswald Mosley's British Union of Fascists. And everyone remembers where they were that day. And what we're hoping is that on Sunday, we will see a vast crowd turn out to say, enough. We have got zero tolerance of anti-Semitism, and we must act against hate before it's too late.